Yeah. I think my brain stopped working like a few hours ago, so I apologize in advance.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. I love your accent. Where are you from?
Well, I'm originally from Mississippi, but I'm in
I
Virginia
love
right. I'm in Virginia right now, but you're probably hearing the Mississippi because yeah, it's
I love it.
kind
That's
of hard to
good.
shake.
I always told kids, I'm Indian, but my parents are from the Fiji Islands, and I always tell everybody, I'm like, I always wish, but I'm from LA, so I have this, I sound like this. So it's
Right.
so funny, people meet me, they're always like, oh my God, like, I didn't think that you would sound like that. And I'm like what? But I always tell people that I wish I had an accent of some sort because it's so sexy to have an accent.
It gives me away because I completely suck at adapting and like changing. Like I think that I'm doing better, and then it seems like as soon as somebody meets me, it's like, now where are you from? I'm like, yeah, yeah. Even in Virginia, it's like, where are you from?
I love it though. It gives you character.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's really hot.
Well, I wanted to ask you. I know you've been working as a model for some time. Tell me a little bit about that and how you got started doing that, and most importantly, how that has shaped your career.
Yeah, well, I actually, started modeling when I was 15. Like I said, I grew up in LA, so I was born and raised here. Actually, always have wanted to, pursue being in front of the camera of any sort. But yeah, I had an agency at 15, and I've just been working internationally. Like I was in India, and I was in Europe, and I was just working consistently. That's kind of where it started.
Right.
And as far as wanting to do it, I've been, ever since I was little, I've been performing, and I've just been wanting. I mean, I've always had like a natural, keen sense of like being in front of the camera and really being like an entertainer. But I've been singing and dancing ever since I was little. And but yeah, that kind of is at 15 is when it kind of started, and ever since then, it obviously spiraled into an amazing point, which is now. But most people don't know that the music was always my number one priority, but the music was always a little bit more difficult to do because it's a combined effort. So
Right.
I mean, I had a deal when I was 18. I signed an independent deal through a major, and that was like overseas, and then that kind of lately, thank God, I kind of got out of. So I mean, it's just been the modeling has definitely been for me. It's been a part of who I am, and it's definitely
Right.
helped me to this point now. But it's definitely not. The music was always the foundation.
Right. I mean, were there ever times that you thought about, I guess, not doing the music? I mean, how did you keep your eye on the prize, so to speak? Like,
no, it actually surprisingly no. It's always been. It's been my heart pretty much. Like I've always wanted to do it. I've always wanted to make it my main focus. And it actually always has been my main focus.
Right.
But as far as like whole in my career and just saying like, okay, this is all I'm doing right now. Now it's that, thank God, because I feel like now it's at the time where it's ready to become what it's going to become.
Right.
But it's never been like, sometimes people wake up and they're like, this is really tough and I don't know if it's going to happen and I don't know if I want it to be part of it. I just never woke up thinking that. I always woke up, and I always wanted and it was always the main priority for me. Even when I was modeling and stuff, like I always shared that with people. Like no one never really knew that I wasn't, but everybody knew that I was a singer, but no one had ever heard anything, and I did that on purpose because I wanted it to be impactful when I released it, when I came out. I just don't want to be, a model singer. There's so many of those out there.
Right.
Not any of that, but for me, it was like the timing is everything with it, and so when it comes out and when I want it to come out, when I want to share it with the world, is when it's going to be like dynamically big.
How would you describe your music?
It's pop international dance with a Bollywood feel. I'm Indian, like I mentioned, and my parents are from the Fiji Islands, so but they were born and raised in Fiji, but my roots are Indian, and but I grew up in LA, and even though I grew up here, I was very, very in touch with Bollywood cinema and with Indian cinema growing up. Very, very, very big part of my upbringing. I speak the language. I speak Hindi fluently. So, I mean, it was just a very big, like I said, a very big part of me. And it became, as an adult, like I just, it encompassed kind of who I was. So I really, really wanted to incorporate that within the music. And that's where the music is now. I mean, it's basically dance international. international with a Bollywood Indian touch to it.
That sounds fun, actually. Well, do you consider Bollywood maybe one of your biggest musical influences, or who would you consider to be that?
Well, growing up, I was always in love with, as a teenager, as like, I always was in love with Timbaland and his production. I love him.
Right.
It really inspired me because he really, in the 90s, he really, like, kind of introduced the world to, like, it was the urban world and the hip-hop world. He introduced to something international that was, like, with the Indian influence and was just, like, the sound that kind of was never there before,
Right,
it was like a mesh of those worlds. But I love him, and I love him now, obviously, too. I love him, and I love a lot of Indian composers and musicians. Like, I don't know if you know A.R. Rahman, but he's the one that he's like a very, 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 very famous producer / composer, and he did all of, like, Slumdog Millionaire. And,
oh, wow.
I mean, he's amazing, though, and he actually had a deal with Universal. He's just a very, very amazing producer and composer. I love him, and I mean, as of now, I just love a lot. I'm working with a lot of dance international, like, producers, and I'm obviously fans of them, but I love the mesh of the world. I think that, where we're at today, it's like, it's so open, and that's why I'm so excited to introduce my music, introduce myself to the world, because it's like, I feel like it's so open. Like, it's like, finally to the place where people are like, wow, this is something different, and I love it. And it's so mainstream, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it's just something that's different and dynamic. But, yeah, those are some of the people that I love, and I love what they bring to music.
Well, what are you working on now? Like, when can we expect your album and all that fun stuff?
Yeah, well, right now I'm releasing a single via iTunes really soon. In the next 7 to 10 days, it's going to come out. And I just shot my video for it, so that's also coming out with the single. They'll both be, up on iTunes and globally released. And then after that, I am, hoping to release my album. We don't have a date yet. It's going to be really soon, but we don't have a date yet. But as far as recent now, the single, the video, and a couple of other viral things that we have going on. So.
Awesome. Is there anything that you've liked the most throughout the whole process of working on the album?
Just creating, like, and like I said, like, kind of bringing those worlds together. Like, I love it, because, I mean, I'm from LA, so it's so interesting. Like, people, when they meet me, they never think that I speak the language, or a lot of people don't even know that I'm Indian, but it's like, that's just such a, like I said, a big part of, like, me. So it's just really, it's a great feeling to be able to, like, skate in the studio with producers where they know that world and they know this world, and bringing it together, it's a great feeling. And bringing it together, like, on a very, like, present moment,
Right.
Music is very like, you can do so much with it, but to make sure it's mainstream and make sure that it's relevant to right now and the time and what everybody likes and what I like, is a great feeling. Really exciting. So that's kind of the most exciting part of it right now.
I'm definitely excited about hearing it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the first record that we're almost solid on putting out is called Put Me On, and it's featuring DJ Class, who, I don't know if you know who he is, but I mean, he had a big record with Kanye and Little John called it was called Diamond. I forgot the actual title of it, but it was a big record. It went like Diamonds on My Neck, Got Patron. You know that song?
Yeah.
I forgot what the actual title was because, I mean, he's a good friend of mine. But, yeah, I have my first record that we're probably going to go ahead and push is that one. So it's called Put Me On, featuring DJ Class. And, yeah, and we just shot the video for that record. So, and that's a dance record. It's dance, pop, international. And, and then the video is exciting because the video actually has touches of Bollywood in it. And it's
awesome.
Still, like, I hope you'll love it. Yeah, it's something different.
Yeah. So. Well, thank you so much for talking to me, and I can't wait till the video and everything comes out next week, you said?
Yeah, it's going to be out in 7 to 10 days.
Okay.